Hi, Orange Girl here with another scrapbooking process video for you. I am working with Flair from A Flair for Buttons today. I am also working with the March Paper Issues Scrapbooking Kit. So I'm starting with this photo of my daughter and this little piece of ephemera that came in the kit that is from Jen Hadfield. And I saw this photo and saw this little slothy guy, and I knew that I needed to have them together. I also found a bunch of Sloth Flair that I happen to have in my stash from A Flair for Buttons. And so I printed out my journaling wrong 3 times, but I end up fixing that later. And you'll see that over to the right. And I also pulled out of the Jen Hadfield ephemera, I pulled out all of the pieces of florals that have a gold like outline on them because I wanted to use those. I love the colors in them, and I love that kind of orange, peach, not peach, orange, like salmon, I don't know what color it is. I'm going to call it orange piece, and it matches the board that she is sitting on at the beach. So I kind of auditioned a few little background papers there, and I end up deciding on this one, which is, I think, from Heidi Swap. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not positive on that. It came in the March Scrapbooking Kit, so it might not be Heidi Swap. I cannot remember. I am so sorry. I forget. If I can find that information, I'll link it below. And so my thought is that I'm going to do something around the photo like this. And I really liked, when I was auditioning the background papers, I really liked this paper here, which is Heidi Swap. I really liked this paper, but I thought it was a little too busy to go with my photos and the flowers and all of that kind of stuff. And so I grabbed from my stash, not included in the scrapbooking kit, but is available at the Paper Issues store. I grabbed this 6x8 paper pad that is from the Storyline collection by Heidi Swap, and I cut out this, like, it's about 3x5 piece, and then I think I pull another 3x5 piece from this other paper here. Yeah, and so not 3x5, 3x4 is, I apparently can't speak today. Great day to do a voiceover. Anyway, so my thought was that I would put one of these behind the photo and have one of them house my journaling. And so that's kind of how I started off, and it's going to change a little bit as we go here. So often as I am working, if you are someone that follows me, I will move things around a lot. I do that a lot, but also I will take breaks. So I laid this out, wasn't sure I liked what I saw exactly. And so I just walked away from it for a while, and then I came back and I do change it up a little bit after thinking about it. And when I do that, I often take a photograph of it as well. So this is where things got kind of not unsure for me. So I have this great Flair from A Flair for Buttons that has sloths on it, and I thought I could use 1 or 2 or 3 of those pieces. Also from my stash, I pulled out one that says #travel, and one of the reasons I liked it is because this is a photo of us when we are traveling, but also it is the same color. It fits the color of that sloth and the color of the papers, etc. So somewhere in here, I realized that as I'm cutting up my journaling strips, it says taking instead of taken in one of the parts. So I end up reprinting it wrong twice, just in case you were wondering. I do finally get it right for the final project, though. So I'm going through and I'm trying to find some other things that have that gold on it, and I find these 2 birds that are on leaves that are golden, and I don't necessarily want to use the birds, although I kind of go back and forth, like maybe I want to put a little bird up there in the corner, but I end up just using the actual leaves from those birds. The other thing that I liked when I originally went through my ephemera pieces was this little flamingo guy. I like the color of him, and since we're on a beach, I felt like it fit, and so as I'm positioning my Flair, that's when I'm getting kind of frustrated because I'm like, it's not going anywhere. Everything ended up being on the left. And so I didn't like that it seemed like it was left heavy. And so I went back to the drawing board a little bit, walked away, came back, same day, just later, and I cut a larger piece of that butterfly paper by Heidi Swapp. So same 6x8 piece of paper. I just cut this one now, so it's a little bit more than, it's about, I'm not sure how big it is. I'm going to say it's probably about 4x6-ish. So I put that then behind both sides of, so the photo and where the journaling is going to go. Then I moved my little sloth guy down in the corner, and I like that a lot better. It is going to change again, however. But this gave me a place to put all of my Flair buttons. That last piece of Flair there that ends up making it on the page, it says, everything you need is already inside of you, which I thought kind of fit the vibe of her sitting on the beach meditating. Okay, so she's not really meditating, but she's pretending she's meditating. Okay, so I'm going to put a little tissue behind my paper. Tissue paper behind my photo. And then when I put my photo on this background here, that I've created, I realized that all of those rainbows, I did stitch off camera with gold thread to kind of bring out the gold in the ephemera pieces. But anyway, when I put this on there, I'm going to pop it up with a little bit of adhesive, and it covers up all the rainbow. I still have a little bit of a pop of color coming out from behind there, which is okay, but anyway. So the other thing that I did I do fix that a little bit here in a second. So the other thing that I did off camera is I went ahead and I cut that blue paper, that background paper, and I glued it down onto that kind of orangish kind of salmon-y colored paper to use as kind of a border around my page. It brings out some of the pink, orange colors that are in the layout. I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to put down all of my journaling to the right of that flamingo. I'm getting closer to it being final, what it looks like final. However, I realized I felt like it needed some more layers. So I kind of went back to the drawing board. Not really. I went back to the kit and I found this paper. And I liked the different colors in it. It brought out some of the colors that I was already using. It has kind of that brown color, that tan color in it. It also has that orange color in it. And I like the addition of the teal kind of color. Then I felt like my two pieces of things there, like the picture and the flamingo with the journaling, I felt like that fit. It had more of a home. So I went ahead then and I stitched around the outside of the blue paper. I also pulled down one corner, and because I pulled that corner down, I moved my little guy over to the right side, my little sloth guy. I added a strip of that same paper that I'm using behind the whole thing. I added that to the bottom right for a little place for my little sloth guy to sit on. Now I'm really liking how this is coming together. And so I sped this up because basically all I'm doing at this point, I'm not making any decisions, I'm just gluing stuff down. I'm adding tangled thread behind each of the pieces, the big pieces of things. I also added some more of that rainbow paper to the the left side of my photo, and also to the left side of the whole cluster. I did that actually before it's kind of like my bottom layer on the left side. And I did that before I did any stitching around the whole thing there. I hope that makes sense. You'll see it in the close-ups for sure. So I'm putting the same gold thread. The gold thread is really hard to tangle. It's kind of difficult to work with, but I love it so much I do it as much as possible. So another little adjustment that I'm making here is I'm going ahead and I am putting things, let's see, like my pieces of what are they called? Flair. Good grief. My pieces of Flair are kind of in different places than I had them in the beginning, and I like where they ended up here. So, okay, so before I get my title on there, I was kind of looking at those gold words come in the Paper Issues kit, and I love it. I love them a lot, and they're perfect, which is part of why I was thinking that I would use all of those elements that had gold on them from the kit. So this photo was taken a couple weeks ago when we were on spring break. We left for spring break. We went to Gulf Shores, Alabama, and when we left, there were 0 cases of COVID-19 in Alabama, and there were 0 in Iowa, where we were coming from. We knew that we were going to a place that was in a house instead of in a condo, so we figured we would still be able to practice social distancing if needed. We also knew that the beach was a beach that was more private, and so we felt like it was safe and still responsible to go. So we went, and we left on a Friday after school. Then, while we were there, things got exponentially worse. And so we typically leave on Saturday when we do this trip every year. We decided to leave on Thursday, or on Friday morning. Thursday is when this photo was taken, and it was just moments before they ended up closing the beach. And so that's my journaling, taking a little rest and meditating on our last night at the beach. This photo was taken just a few minutes before they closed the beaches due to COVID-19. She was clearly happy at this point because she didn't know the beaches were going to be closed yet. Neither did we. We thought it was going to be the next day. But it ended up being like literally minutes after I took this photo. So I am using Nuvo drops, vintage drops that are in the Paper Issues store right now, and I am loving these. They look and work a lot, when you use them like I'm using them, a lot like enamel dots, but they're easy to use. They stick nicely, and that is the end of my layout here. You're going to see the close-ups here in just a second. You'll get to see how I folded that and stitched that down, and I put a little butterfly on there off screen, or off camera. The other thing that I added off camera was the date. But there's the pieces of Flair. There's my cute little sloth guy, my journaling. Thanks a lot for stopping by. I hope you are safe. I hope you are healthy. I hope your loved ones are safe and healthy. We will get through this. Thanks a lot for checking things out, and I will see you soon.